Welcome to another edition of the Forum. I'm your host, Sheila Evans. Here on the Forum, we highlight interesting and important achievements, programs, and events within our school system and the Wilmington community. We have another lineup of incredible guests again today. First, we're joined by Matthew Trish, lead athletic trainer for New Hanover County Schools. Free athletic pre-screening for students are coming up, and he will give us all the details on this requirement to participate in all New Hanover County Schools athletics. Then we'll chat with New Hanover County Schools Testing Director Karen Green about end-of-year testing here at New Hanover County. She'll provide us all the tips needed to be successful. And finally, we'll talk with Kim Sincox from the Battleship, North Carolina, about their upcoming Memorial Day celebration and summer events. It's another great edition of the Forum, so stick around and we'll get right back with our guests after this short break.
Hey guys, this is my teenage friend Rachel. She's cool.
Hey. Hey, could you watch the road?
Hey, could you watch the road?
Okay. All right, well, if we die in a car crash, I want to donate my eyes to my neighbor, Gary. He has a boat, and he sails all around the world. I would love to see that. I don't know if he actually needs eyes, but who would turn on a free pair of eyes, right? Who's that rich?
Start your day with New Hanover County Schools, the morning show. This Rise and Shine program will put a smile on your face and a spring in your step. Best of all, you'll start the day a little smarter, knowing more about our district leaders and teachers, discovering new frontiers in science and technology, and getting the latest school news from across the district. New Hanover County Schools, the morning show, educating all viewers to achieve today and tomorrow in a global community. Only on this channel.
My guest is Matthew Trish, and he is the lead athletic trainer for New Hanover County Schools, and he's here today to talk about our annual county schools athletic pre-participation examinations. That's a mouthful.
I know, right?
Can you share with us the dates and times and all that good stuff?
The times are always 6 p.m. You don't have to show up early. You know, we let you all in at when they open. You can get in line. You don't need to show up hours early. It's a pretty consistent speed. The dates are the boys will be first, and that will be Thursday, May 30th.
Okay.
And the girls will be Thursday, June 6th. And it is at 2029 South 17th Street, which is right next to the main hospital. It is, if you enter the hospital, it is the building on the far left, and it says clinic right on the top of it.
Oh, that's easy enough.
And it's the boys come in, they open the doors usually right at 6. We'll have cones set up, and they go through the process of checking in, and then it's just kind of a consistent line where they've got it down to a science now.
Okay. And it's important, there's a form they bring with them, right?
Yeah.
And it's important because of a parent signature, is that correct?
Yeah, the front page of the form, you have to have on the bottom where it has, you know, student signature, parent signature, and print. It has to be filled out before they can enter. If they don't have consent, then we can't let them in, unfortunately. So make sure that form is filled out and make sure that everything is complete and legible.
That's when I've seen kids walking out with not having their parents' signature.
Yeah, we try not. Usually, we try to signal the parents.
This was years
hope.
ago.
No.
My kids are not kids anymore, but that's what I was seeing happening.
It happens, and we try hard not to. But the more we can let people know, the better.
Now, if a girl can't come on June 2nd, is that what you said?
June 6th.
June 6th, can she come on the Boys' Day?
No, unfortunately, by the amount of volunteers we have, they break it down in genders, just the volume of getting them in and out and the processing afterwards. We do still keep it for the males go on the male dates and the females go on the female dates. We have a lot of volunteers, but we sometimes don't have enough if we're going to put everybody on the same date.
Gotcha. Do the students leave with a completed form?
No, right now we do not give them hard copies, but what we do is that we've been promoting for the last couple of years now is that you are allowed to take a digital copy of your own form, not somebody else's form. So if you bring your camera phone or iPad or even just a camera, you can bring, you can take a snap there. If it's passed, we'll snap the front and back after it's stamped and then take that with you. But you cannot take somebody else's physical and take a
Gotcha.
photo for them. It has to be your own.
And what if you don't pass?
When we flag you, we'll flag you for, a lot of times we'll flag the athletes for medical concerns, and keep in mind it's just a pre-participation exam, it's a screening, it's not a full out physical with an EKG or anything. So if something's flagged, that means that the basic physical exam brought up questions and they need to get a more serious follow-up with their medical provider, just in case we're missing something. We don't want to put an athlete in harm's way. So what we do is we won't stamp it and they won't sign it. We will actually usually make a copy of that form, and we try to actually go to the parking lot and notify the parent and explain what happened. If not, after we process the forms a few weeks later, we call the families as well and make sure they are aware that their athlete was flagged and they really need to get a follow-up. Not even just for sports, but just for a basic medical safety for their own personal health.
What are your recommendations for any students that can't make their particular day, the male-female day?
That's tough. We try to work around schedules with sports. You know, it's hard to find a time of the year.
It is tough, yes.
Nowadays with so many sports going on. Unfortunately, we don't really have more than one time a year we offer it. So we do say if you can prepare ahead would be great. If you can't make the screening, then there are other options in the county to get your physical, but just make sure you get it before your sports start, because the state is real strict now on those rules.
Okay. I think that oftentimes you can maybe see the urgent care centers around with signs up that they do sports physicals. Would that be what we're talking about here today?
Yes. And urgent cares, I think some clinics do offer times of the years where they give specials. Urgent cares, even now with your primary care physician, some health insurances require that you get one once a year with it. So sometimes athletes have to wait till a specific date anyway to do theirs. So there are options now. It's a lot more than there used to be. But I do suggest, and I highly emphasize, with the way the state is we do online forms now, it's called Arbiter Athlete, where every athlete has to put all their forms in, and if it comes up on the computer system that it's disqualified or expired, they automatically sit. So the best way to make sure you're done with that is to get the free physicals now, and you're good for the rest of the year.
Right.
It does make things a lot more convenient, you know.
So you only have to do it once. If you
Yes.
play 3
And it's
sports,
free.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's just one time a year, so you know you got it done. It's in the system, and that's it. So, but it is an advantage to take, you know, to do it when the free ones are, because it is a time of year where there's not much going on.
How long are you typically there? You start at 6?
It depends on the volume of traffic.
Okay.
It depends on how many volunteers we have. Usually we can get, the last couple of years they've run it so well. The health department, they really do a great job there.
Awesome.
They're very organized, and the physicians have been putting in a lot of, you know, extra time with it. So we've gotten the athletes in probably within an hour and a half the last few years. So the other thing is, some people have stuff going on, they try to multitask, and they'll send their kids at 7:15, 7:30 at night, thinking that it's still going on, because, you know, 10, 15 years ago it was probably a 3-hour process. And they'll pull up at 7:15 and we're ready cleaning up and out the door, and the physicians have left. So just make sure you get there. Everybody gets there
Get
at
signed in,
6
yeah.
p.m. and just get in line, and we'll get you through pretty quick.
Very good. Well, thanks for sharing all that information, and
Okay.
hopefully I hope you have 2 smooth nights.
Yeah, it should be fun. Come out. We suggest everybody get it done, so we got you moving and ready for summer sports.
Great, great. Thanks so much. We'll
Thank
be
you.
back in a few minutes right after these messages.
You believe this guy?
Are you trying to start a wildfire?
Sorry. Pass the honey?
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
History's Timeline, a world of history in 60 seconds, brought to you by New Hanover County Schools. December 24th, 1971, the 26th Amendment to the Constitution is ratified, allowing 18-year-olds to vote. November 7th, 1972, Richard Nixon is re-elected as President of the United States. February 12, 1973, the first American POWs from North Vietnam are flown out. September 9th, 1976, Mao Zedong, chairman of the Chinese Communist Party for 40 years, dies at age 82. This has been History's Timeline, an educational snapshot of the fascinating people, places, and events that have shaped our past.
My guest is Karen Green. She's Director of Testing for New Hanover County Schools, and she's here today to talk about end of grade or year testing. Karen, fill us in on what's going on, tips you might have, anything you think we should know.
Well, testing will begin on May 31st for elementary and middle school. We'll begin with the grades 5 and 8 science test, and then the following week we'll administer the reading and math end of grade tests in elementary and middle school. And the most important thing to remember is that it's just one day or 2 days out of a child's whole year. And so as a parent, what we want to do is be sure that children, like any other school day, they're rested and they've had a good breakfast and they come to school on time and those kinds of things.
What kind of tips might you have for reducing stress? People that just stress out at the idea of testing.
I think when we have a lot of children that get stressed out about testing, I think talking through that process, maybe several days up before testing, having family conversations around the dinner table or in the evening, and talking about the fact that this is just one day in the context of 170, 80 days, and that it's just one data point. The child has been working hard all school year. They have multiple ways that they've demonstrated an understanding of the curriculum, and I think just having that conversation, that interaction, sometimes children just need to talk through things to help with their anxiety about testing.
I think that sounds like a good idea. What about high school?
High school testing for non-seniors begins on the 7th, Friday the 7th of June. Since we extended the calendar for 5 days, but we did not change graduation, we've got permission to administer the assessments for seniors on the 5th and the 6th of June so that they can graduate on time. Families have made plans to have people come in town. So we'll be testing seniors on the 5th and the 6th, and then for the rest of the students we'll start on the 7th.
So does that mean they need a lot of proctors with all those days?
Well, interestingly enough, one of the things that the state superintendent, and by the way, he's very mindful of making sure that children's stress levels are reduced, that teachers are supported, that schools are supported. So we don't need a one-on-one proctor in every setting now. We can utilize what's called a roving proctor, one proctor for each of 3 sessions. And I think that's reduced a lot of the stress for the administration at the school, because a lot of times it's hard to get volunteers for 2 or 3 days in a row.
So does a roving proctor mean like they sit in the hallway outside of 2 or 3 classrooms?
Well, we have a hall monitor that deals with emergencies,
okay, I did see
children migrating to the bathroom and those kinds of things. But the roving proctor really needs to see the beginning, the middle, and the end of testing. So every several minutes, every 20 minutes or so, they'll oscillate from room to room.
Very good. That would make me want to do it more than it used to.
So you're not stuck in the same place.
Right, right. And sometimes I felt that proctors were a distraction if students didn't know who you were. You're like, oh, who is that? Especially getting up and walking around and that kind of thing.
That's correct, and that's one of the things that we talk about with our test coordinators, our assistant principals in training. Think about the group of students you have, whether it's a full class or a small group. You want to try to utilize people that maybe the children have seen before. Certainly, if you have a class of students that may seem a little more uneasy about testing, you certainly want to pair them with someone in the building that they've worked more frequently with, and all those little things really does help the child.
I agree. Like I said, I felt like I was a distraction when I would, and then the get up and walk around. I'm like, oh, if it were me taking the test, I'd be paying attention to the proctor.
The other new change that the state superintendent has implemented, which I think may help with the stress level, is that on the day of the test, before the booklets are passed out and the script is read, the teacher can review test-taking strategies with the children.
Oh, nice.
Can't review content, but just a couple little reminders about, highlighting, marking out erroneous answers to, reduce the choices, those kinds of things they're allowed to review now on the day of testing. And I really think that will help reduce some anxiety as well.
That is a great idea. And that's new for this year?
New for this year.
Anything else that's new?
Just as we implement new assessments, the math assessment this year is new. It's a new operational. Usually every 5 years the state redoes the curriculum, and then of course when you have a new curriculum you have to implement, we have a new test. And as we're implementing new assessments, they're going to be shorter. That is another thing that the state superintendent is adamant about, not having children sit for 4 hours for a test. So the math test this year is shorter.
Oh, good.
Next year, English Language Arts curriculum, the new test will be implemented, so that will be shorter. So we're going to see a reduction in testing and a reduction in the time for testing and the number of items on the test.
Very good. And one more time, just some of those strategies for families. Talk about it.
Talk about it.
Remind them that it's just one day.
One day.
Do your best.
Do your best. Make sure you're rested. Keep your routine. Sometimes I would, on days of testing when my children were testing, I might have something special like bacon. I might cook a little extra something special if they wanted a special treat, something healthy with a lot of protein. But just keep your normal routine. We want to reduce the stress by not changing many of the variables.
Very good. Well, thank you very much for sharing those tips, and hopefully the system does well this year.
We're looking forward to it. Our teachers and administrators have been working really hard, as well as the parent support, and I expect really good scores this year.
Yay! Thanks so much. We'll be returning in just a few minutes after these messages.
Some chores you dread. You do them, but that doesn't mean you're happy about it. Then there's registering with the Selective Service. If you're a young man turning 18, the law says you have to register. It'll keep you eligible for college loans, government jobs, and training, and it only takes 2 minutes, which makes it not only your most important chore, but the easiest. When you turn 18, register at sss.gov or the local post office.
No, what'd she say?
She said whatever.
No, she says that all the time.
What's that?
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Mom, I'm on the phone!
Hello? I'm on the phone.
Who's this? It's me. I'm on the phone. Mom.
Oh, you're on the phone. All right.
Sorry.
Sorry. Anyway.
Who are you talking to? Kelly?
Mom.
All right.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to put up with you.
My next guest is Kim Sincox. She's with the Battleship, North Carolina, and she's going to fill us in on what's going on this summer. Kim, take it away.
Well, one thing, we are finally wrapping up repairs on our visitor center.
Nice.
After Florence visited all of us last fall, we've been under repair in the visitor center, so it's getting there. And it looks very nice, nicely remodeled. We just dedicated the new dock for the catamaran and the Busy Bee. So we have a dock for that, and for kayaks and stuff, it's even handicap accessible kayak dock.
Okay.
So that's a new thing that's going on. We have our Memorial Day service, of course, coming up, and the time of that is new.
Okay.
It's 5 p.m. on the fantail of the Battleship on Memorial Day itself, and it is free and open to the public. So that's 5 p.m. on Memorial Day.
On Monday.
The actual Monday of Memorial Day, the actual day.
And what will happen that day?
It's a lovely event. So of course you have politicians, and we usually have a high-ranking military person come to give a talk. My favorite parts are that the band, which is the Duke Ladd Orchestra, they will play the service song for each branch of service, and those veterans that are there that day will stand up and salute the flag, and that is the boohoo moment. That and taps, to me, are the boohoo moments. But it's a wonderful service. We usually get, I want to say 600 or 700 people come. It's very well attended and very nice. The Exchange Club comes and hands out flags to everyone. It's a very nice service.
Is there an admission fee that day?
No, not for people attending the service.
Okay.
Now you're not supposed to tour the ship afterwards, but you're.
Okay.
Speaking of which, we open our summer hours start that Friday. So right now we're open from 8 to 5, and then we'll be open from 8 to 8.
Oh, okay.
So that's coming up. let's see, this weekend we have a program for adults on ship design. And then on the 18th, we have one, Hidden Battleship, and that's the one, where it's a 4.5 hours behind the scenes tour. So we'll have that also in May. That's on our calendar of events, but it's May 18th. So that's coming up. In June, July, and August, we'll have our Battleship 101, and that's when we'll have 50 or 60 volunteers stationed throughout the ship. They might be helping you with a typewriter, or doing semaphore flags, or cutting a stencil, or any number of things. And that happens on the second Saturdays and the fourth Thursdays. There's no extra fee, it's free with admission.
Nice.
So that'll be coming up in the summer. What else we have going on? Of course, in the fall we'll have Hidden Battleship again. And people may not know, there's so many things they can do at the ship. We have birthday parties, we have military enlistments and retirements. We always have weddings. We've even had baby showers.
Really?
Yes, we have corporate events. So there's many, many rental functions. Oh, and the new building and redoing it, what used to be the auditorium is now our Celebrate the Legacy Gallery. And there's 4 large windows that look out over the Cape Fear River. Beautiful, beautiful view. And just another extra lovely space for rentals. But yes, lots of school kids coming these days.
Do you have any organized summer camps that you do, or is it more popular for groups to come through?
Right, in the summer, we have had camps before, but for us, we're so crowded in the summer. We usually have anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000 people a day in the summer. So we're just so focused on processing visitors through. We still can have rental functions that go on in the evenings, but for summer camp, we're just not set up quite as well as some places for summer camps per se. But we do get campers.
Right.
And sometimes we work with other places like say Marine Quest or other.
Right.
So if you're out there and you have a camp program and you want to come visit us as part of your day camp, we do that.
Okay.
We definitely partner with other people to provide a place for their campers to come visit.
Okay.
And we do programs for them. So if somebody wants to sign up for a program, we do have one, and it's lots of hands-on activities. Working phones, remember those? Working rotary dial phones,
Yep.
and sound-powered phones, and the typewriters, and there's a Kingfisher simulator, Morse code. So there's activities that if the day campers come, if they just get up with me, we can do programs for your camp if you're looking for an activity.
Do you still do like a ham radio day event?
Yeah, so the Azalea Coast Ham Radio Club, they do 3 events a year.
Oh, wow.
So there's one coming up in June, which is the Historic Museum Ships Day, so that's in June, and so it's museum ships all over the world will be operating, and they also do one for Pearl Harbor, and they do one that's in February, NCQSO, and that's when the idea is to contact as many of the 100 North Carolina counties as possible. Also, if you're a ham radio operator, you can come to the ship, contact me, I can put you in touch with them, and you can come be a guest operator at the ship, and people really enjoy that.
Interesting.
So that's really cool too. So, and we're working towards opening a new area of the ship, our cold storage, because when people come through, they can see all the wonderful, we've put in a lot of fake food, which is a lot of fun, so people get an idea of what Thanksgiving looked like or the birthday cakes they had and all this kind of thing. But people probably wondered, well, where do they keep it all? And so that area, our volunteers have been working really hard with our curator to open up a new space on the ship, so that'll be fun. It's always nice to add something new.
Now, was there future hopes of doing like overnight Cub Scout outings and that kind of stuff, or is my recollection incorrect?
No, we did. We tried it over the past 20 or so years. We've tried twice to get that through. The fire insurance, the fire suppression and insurance requirements are just more in the Lamborghini budget. So that's
Sure, that's important.
More than we can.
Right.
More than we can do with our budget. So
understood.
And of course we're still on schedule to make those hull repairs. So if you haven't come out to see the beautiful State Employees Credit Union Memorial Walkway, which is free, encircles the ship, that's great. And of course the cofferdam's in place. So we're going to get through the upcoming storm season.
Yes.
And after the storm season, we're supposed to be moving towards repairing the hull, much needed repairs. So
okay, lots going on, but the one thing coming up for Memorial Day that's changed.
Yes, it's at
is 5 o'clock
yes,
on Monday.
5 o'clock on that Monday. It used to be 5:45, so it's
Okay.
5 o'clock. You don't want to come when it's already over, so 5 o'clock that Monday.
Gotcha. All right, Kim, thanks for coming by and giving us an
Thank
update
you.
on all that.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome, and we'll be back right after these messages.
Global 3000, a DW production. Little things can have a huge impact throughout the world. The Globalization Magazine, Global 3000.
We hope you've enjoyed our program today. For more information about the free athletic pre-screenings, please check the front page of the school system's website at nhcs.net. There's a link with all the information at the bottom of the page. And to learn more about the Battleship North Carolina's Memorial Day event and all their summer programs, visit battleshipnc.com. And if you ever have any questions about anything we discussed here today on the show, please call the school system's public relations office at 254-4106. I'm Sheila Evans, and thanks for joining me today.